you can't diagnose chronic fatigue syndrome. At least that's to say, the symptoms of chronic fatigue are so commonly attributed to other issues that all you can do is diagnose around it and rule out things until the only possibility is chronic fatigue. I don't know if anyone expected this life for me. I know I didn't. But then you sit and you think about it, and all of the choices and decisions and opportunities that led to get you here. And you really wonder where everything started, like a cohesive point. So I guess I should probably start at the start. No one expected university for me. No one. It just wasn't something that people like me do. You don't know why you're different when you're in primary school, and then you get to secondary school, and that's when everyone becomes a bit more aware of social class, and that's when you start to be punished for it. You know, raised by a single mother who's disabled, forced to have like free school meals, wearing the same hand-me-down uniforms from my brother year after year. They sensed that I would have a hard time, and I did. I got to college, and that was where I really started to be ambitious in what I wanted to do. You know, I assumed I would end up working in hospitality for the rest of my life anyway. So it didn't really matter what A-levels I took. So I took the A-levels of all of the subjects I enjoyed. I did media studies and literature language combined and fine art and modern history, and I loved them. And it was only really when I started to push the boundaries of what I could do in terms of filming and editing, and that I realised other people thought that there was a limit to what I was able to achieve. I remember it was a music video that I had to make, and they showed us these examples of what they wanted us to make, and these people had used drones, and they had videos of people on jet skis, and it was all these fantastical things. And so of course I'm thinking, well, what can I do? I don't have money for a plane ticket. I don't have jet skis. I don't have a drone. What can I do? And so I storyboard out my idea, and I find people who will be in this music video, and I explain everything to my media teacher, and I'm so excited. And she looked at me and said, I want you to dream big, but I need you to be realistic. And that stung. Had she not just shown me videos of people in a tropical island backflipping off of jet skis and having the best time and getting overhead shots with a drone, but my video idea, which took place in, I think it was an arcade and a studio, was unrealistic simply because it was coming from me. And that was the moment I decided I would go to university and I would get there. But I didn't get there straight away. I knew that that wouldn't be realistic at all. I took a year out, and I worked and I worked and worked and worked as many hours as I could, and I got to university with 3 boxes of things and my little backpack, and I was so ready. And I actually had my 21st birthday on my first day of class, and it felt like the biggest birthday present I could have given myself. It turned out that what they said was fresh as flu was glandular fever, and it left a mark on me. The hardest part about this process is probably the blood tests, because the blood tests are the most time-consuming thing, and there are so many of them. Each individual thing that the doctor has to rule out in order to tell you that you have chronic fatigue, even if they're certain of it the first time they meet you, they have to do these blood tests. They have to make sure that your iron is at the right level, and your vitamin D and your B12 and your folates and everything else. They need to rule out all these big and scary things that it could be, even if they don't think it is. So you have to do blood tests for each individual one. And that's a lot of blood tests. For frame of reference, I had a blood test this morning. You can see it just there. But my last blood test was so recent that you can still see the bruise. And that's just part of my life. When they do inevitably find something wrong with your vitamin levels, because let's be honest, if you're struggling with debilitating fatigue, you're not really finding the energy to pull yourself up and cook a beautifully made, like, nutritious meal. They have to course correct and make sure that you have the right vitamin levels, and then repeat the blood tests. I try really hard not to think about the person I used to be, but when your life is separated into before you get sick and after you get sick, it's really hard not to drift towards the other end. I mean, I grew up with an older brother and a younger brother, and we would spend every waking second outside, running around, riding bikes, playing football. Like, any chance we got, we would be outside. I used to love to make videos with my friends, and you know, these videos were so important to me, and you can see in these clips that I'm laughing and having the best time of my life. And I thought that that's what my university life would be like too. I am blind. I've got big thighs and green eyes and hair the colour of wet sand. And to some extent it was for the first year, and then everything. No, I don't mind. The only thing I'm scared of is always being one step behind. The worst part about making videos is seeing the difference, having a traceable timeline of all the differences in all of your videos and seeing the change happen right in front of you. I've discovered a new symptom of my migraines, which is almost falling asleep, and then right on the brink of sleep, getting hit with an intense wave of nausea, which is great. Love that for me, because I now fear falling asleep. Because you can't see these changes happening as they happen. So to look back on these videos and say, hey, I look a little bit out of it there, or oh, hey, I'm gaining weight there, or hey, I'm yawning a lot here, and looking back and being able to say, why didn't anyone notice what was wrong with me when it's not their fault? How are they supposed to know? But you get this anger of why isn't anyone helping me? And how could they? But it's hard thinking about the person I was and thinking about that music video that I made, being faced with someone who told me you can't do this and proving her wrong, only to be taken out by Freshers' Blue. I really tried to stay positive. You know, if this doesn't work out for me, if all of the timetables I made and the to-do lists and everything I've built, if it doesn't work out, I try to think about how it will be fine, because I could work in a cafe for the rest of my life and that will be fine. That's a respectable way to live. But the truth is, that's not a given for me. This thing, this illness, this disability, whatever it is, can be progressive. And every time I get sick, I wonder, am I going to feel better after this, or is this it for me? Is this my new normal again? And sometimes I feel myself struggling with things that I used to be able to do without thinking about it. I find myself struggling on my shifts at work when they're only a couple of hours long.
I made plans to meet someone to have a little bit of like a brunchy kind of deal, like a little breakfast, and we didn't do much. Like, I just got on the bus, had breakfast, we walked around some shops, and I've come back home and I've just had to have a 2-hour nap. I set a timer for 20 minutes and I've been asleep for 2 hours. And I'm meant to be meeting someone else later today, just going to the house. Again, nothing out of the ordinary, like nothing that should be too much, and I'm wondering if I need to cancel because I'm exhausted.
You know, there's a chance that one day I might not be able to work at all. And I don't want that. I don't know if I could live with that. I'm so grateful that I didn't listen to that teacher. I mean, it took everything, but I did the idea that I wanted to do initially. It took hours and hours staring at a screen and editing, and it took footage that was buried years and years deep from other projects, and I had to learn how to edit all of these different effects and bring them together, and you can definitely see all of the flaws where I hand rotoed every single frame, but I got an A and I passed my A-levels, and I didn't compromise what I wanted to do. It's not really much use for a journalist who can't do anything when they need to. How do you remedy that? How do you plan around that? If there's a protest one day and I have a migraine, well, shame, they'll get someone else to do it. So I can't do that. And it's not like when the teacher told me to dream big but be realistic. because that was something I could prove her wrong with. But I can't prove this illness wrong. My immune system doesn't care what I want to achieve. It doesn't care about my class. It doesn't care about where my family came from. It just exists. And I can't change it. And I wish more than anything that I could give you a more inspiring narration, or that I could give you a storyboard that would end happily ever after with me overcoming something, or a more powerful point to make. But I don't have a point to make. I don't have a storyline to construct. This narrative is the only one I have.